All right. Hi, everyone. Okay, so I wanted to record this session, um, and it's about the commonalities that I've seen, I've witnessed among people who are really making a killing on LinkedIn and making a killing in terms of like the impact that their brand is making, in terms of the clients that they're having, in terms of their visibility, and the conversations around what they're doing, like the brand, what the brand is about. So it's not just limited to like 100K months or 10K months or whatever, but about also the conversations that people are making around their brand or facilitated through their brand. And remember, LinkedIn is very, very huge on thought leadership. And thought leadership, the way I understand it, it's about you taking the lead. It's about you blazing a path in uncharted territories. You being the voice when no one else is talking. It's about you being the highest level of expressing yourself. Like you're totally free. You're in that zone where everybody is like, whoa, that is thought leadership, because you are sparking conversations around stuff that people normally do not, things around or what people think is normal, and you're coming the other way around and telling them, no, this ain't right, this isn't how it's supposed to be done. And you're standing firm on your feet, knowing exactly what you're talking about. That is what the leadership is about. So I just wanted to compound. It's just three things actually, and these three things I've seen manifesting through their content, through their engagement, and on their profile. All right, which is like the three key players or key elements that are in play on LinkedIn, like what you have to put in your strategy for it to work for you. But all these things, other things are just things that are doing on LinkedIn, all right? So if we haven't met, my name is Namatasi, and I'm a LinkedIn business strategist. I've been doing this for 1.5 years now. So basically, I support entrepreneurs, service-based industries, service-based entrepreneurs. I mean, coaches, virtual assistants, consultants, and I help them build profitable brands on LinkedIn, like from zero or from wherever they want to start from. But we create a system for sustainable client acquisition. And this has been, I'm very passionate about making it profitable, because I'm very led with impact, like around how my life can help transform or lift other people up and just change how things are, all right, for other people. So I'm very led with impact, and for a long time I'd find myself having conversations with people for free, and it wouldn't take anything away from me. Like I wouldn't feel guilty, bad, or anything like that. I'd feel satisfied, because at the end of the day, I've gotten on this call and I've helped somebody. I've maybe influenced how they see things, helped them think different, and from there they're able to make different, take different actions, think different, move different. So I'd feel satisfied, but I wasn't making money, and that would translate to everything I'm doing. I ran this philanthropic drive, and I invite other coaches and experts to come on, and we reach out to young entrepreneurs in Africa. I'm African myself. I'm in Kenya, and this is something that is very dear to my heart. Like for instance, right now in my country, there are 4 million people 4 million graduates, university graduates, who do not have work, do not have employment, do not know even where to start. So I come in, and with the help of these entrepreneurs, we're able to coach these people for free. It's something I love doing, okay? And I would do all day, every day. I can't deny people. And it's hurt my business. I've been overwhelmed. I've been burnt out. I'm unable to build my team, and I'm unable to sustainably pay my team members, and it just got very frustrating. So this is why I'm really, really big on impact going hand in hand with profit, and creating the sustainable systems, creating the strategy, having a foolproof strategy that's going to keep you from going through thick and thin, whether you're high vibe, whether you have energy, whether you don't have energy, whether that day your baby is up all night like myself. That is what I'm dealing with. Or when just things are not working out, no electricity, no internet, like that, because sometimes, even for me, sometimes I want to come out here and record a powerful session. I feel moved to talk about this topic, but there's no internet. Like, there's electricity, everything is fine, but there's no internet. So I want to create a system I wanted to create a system that would not fail me no matter what is going on, like something that I can rely on through thick and thin. And this is what I want to share with you, right? But today isn't about that. Today is about the things I've seen, the patterns. What is working for entrepreneurs on LinkedIn? 3 things, all right? So, shall we start? Yeah, I wanted to share my screen, but I don't know if it will allow me. Let me see. Let me see. I wanted to share my screen, but sometimes, I don't know, Canva just gives me hell. All right, so it doesn't want to share, so I'll have to do this without sharing, okay? But don't worry, it's okay, because it's something I can do. So most of the time when what's really pushed me to doing this is because I'm just from finishing the LinkedIn challenge, 1 month LinkedIn challenge. And guys, listen, out of 71 people who joined the program, only 10, around 10, 12 thereabouts were active, like following through, hopping on subsequent calls, following up with me, doing the work. And out of those 10 who are active, only 2 eventually reached out to potential clients. I'm not sharing with you for any other purpose other than to tell you there's a really big fear around LinkedIn. This is something I've witnessed, and it's really messing up a lot of people, like constantly worrying about what will my boss think, what will my colleagues think when they see this, or who's gonna see this, and what are they going to say? And because of that, it's keeping you from doing what you need to do. It's keeping you from showing up the way you want to show up. If you craft a really powerful message, and before you hit send, you're like, oh no, they're gonna think this, they're gonna say this, they're gonna tell whoever, what if whoever sees this, and then you delete. So every time you're backtracking, and something I've witnessed on LinkedIn, I've seen people misinterpret LinkedIn and think it's you only have to be staffy, serious, official looking, corporate. And that is just not true. My LinkedIn coach, the one who taught me stuff that I know about LinkedIn, barely wears any official. I've never seen him in a shirt, in a student tie. Never. He's always in t-shirts, in what are they called? Like, they have buttons on the sides. Yeah, and he gets corporate training jobs. He's going to offices, speaking to lawyers, and looking like that, right? I've seen a lot of people come out, and since COVID hit, I've seen a lot more entrepreneurs just be open about who they are. Like, if you want to show up and you have piercings and whatever and tattoos, come. There's room, and there's somebody who's behind that corporate suit with tattoos underneath, and they're feeling stifled, limited. They're feeling like, a lie, like a fraud, because they don't have room to express themselves. And this is the thing about building a personal brand. it's not just about you. It's so beyond you. It's not even funny, right? Because you have, the moment you decide to build a personal brand, you're in leadership. Whether you like it or not, people are going to look at you. They're going to take your advice. They're going to follow you. You're setting the trend, you're setting the pace for others. So it's a unique responsibility. It's a different kind of burden. But it's so good because when you're operating from a place of genuineness and you're doing this knowing, it's selfless. It's selfless. It doesn't have ego in it. It's just a selfless kind of vibe. It is so good when it's done that way. And this is something that we're going to talk about in detail because it's one of the things I've seen people do. Another thing I've seen is people assuming LinkedIn is for the old people. And that's just not true. Only 3% of LinkedIn is made of people above 55 years of age. Majority of LinkedIn, more than 70% of LinkedIn is made up of people below 35 years. These are people who are fresh from graduate school, right? They're fresh from university, fresh from college. They're here wanting to network and open doors for themselves. Most of them are still fresh and they have ideas and they're still not beaten too much with life, right? They still want to do things that have been deemed impossible. So you find startup founders in the mix, a lot of people. And because of that, there are a lot more entrepreneurs than you think on LinkedIn, right? Because all these people, there are people who are consulting for the corporate world, there are people who are consulting for these startups, there are people on bodies that need are dependent on this corporate crowd, right? So like me, I'm on LinkedIn. Somebody might see me on Instagram and decide, hey, you're not supposed to be on LinkedIn, right? But I'm on LinkedIn and I enjoy LinkedIn more than I do Instagram. Honestly, I think Instagram is just too much. Like you have to have really great graphics, you need to have like really good photos, all that. On LinkedIn, it's so easy. It's easy like Facebook, right? You don't have to do the graphics. You can just create a really powerful text message and put it out there and people are gonna see it, right? But what I love most about LinkedIn is that it's about authority. If you know your shit, like you really know your stuff, right? If you really know your stuff, you're an expert and you know what you're helping your clients with, how you're helping them solve these problems, right? And how your offer is coming in to shift and transform their lives, you have room. You need to be on LinkedIn. People need to see you on their feeds, right? So if you're here and you just need to know that LinkedIn is for you, just know it's for you, right? Because as long as you can stand boldly, and speak your mind, you can stick to your guns, what you believe in, LinkedIn is for you. That's leadership. That's the leadership. All right. So I've been so today what we're going to be talking about is the commonalities that I've seen, right? And what these entrepreneurs have in common, and what else do they do? What extra mile do they go to, so that LinkedIn comes in and contributes this massively to their success. And guys, I'm talking about people who are selling like multiple 5-figure offers, programs, 6-figure corporate deals, speaking opportunities, things like that. That is what we're talking about with LinkedIn. And of course, I mentioned about the impact, right? So let's dig right in and feel free to reach out after this, after you've watched on Facebook or LinkedIn. That is where I mostly am. And reach out to me and ask questions, right? I'm always available, right? So the first thing that I've seen is that most all of them have profitable profiles. Not one person out of the people that I've looked at, and I've been serious about this because I'm launching my first really well developed program in December. I mean, that's when we're starting. And I wanted to make sure that I've got all the things that are important, right? None of these people have mediocre profiles. Every single one of them has a profitable profile. And a profitable profile is one that allows profile visitors to qualify themselves, Yeah. And this means that your profile is able to answer all the pressing questions your clients might have before they decide to work with you. Remember, every time you're new to each other, right? And your profile has all this room. Your profile has all this room like to state your case, to let people know who you are, the kind of person you are, what kinds of problems you solve, what more do you have, what stands you out from the next person who solves this problem, is this so they're able to answer all these things for themselves. So when a person lands onto your profile, they've either seen your link, or they stumbled upon your account on Google, or they've seen your profile of your they've seen your content somewhere, or they've seen a really good comment that just spurred them into clicking on your profile to see who this guy is, right? Or they searched for you and you appeared on search, so they clicked on your profile. But when they're landing on your profile, it's because they want to know more about you. And your profile does that. So in the process of qualification, they're able to inform themselves whether they are your ideal client or not, right from there. I find it so convenient because unlike Facebook does not have that much room to explain all that. So eventually people have to come to your content and peruse it and see what you're about, probably go to your website, all that. Before, and if they're not confident about, or they feel like, oh no, I still have questions, they'll come to your DMs. But on LinkedIn, it's the other way around. Like, your profile is prepared in such a way, it looks like a landing page, right? It's supposed to answer everything. And from there, they can decide whether or not they want to, take you up on the offer, follow that call to action, come into your DMs, take that conversation further. Everything that's on your profile is supposed to do that, like straight from your cover image, which is like the biggest piece of real estate on LinkedIn. People are able to find you from like on suggested pages. Your cover is like the biggest thing that grabs people's eye, even more than your profile picture itself. And when people land onto your profile, the profile, if you do not have the gray default, LinkedIn default, and you have used the space to advertise your offer or tell people what you're about, that is what grabs their eye, and they consume that in less than 3 seconds. And you know what people say about the 3-second rule? People have perceived something in under those 3 seconds. They've decided who you are, they've decided who you are, they've decided what you're about, they've decided if you are the right person for them, or if there's room, let me give them the benefit of doubt. Like, they've decided all that. And from that cover image, they're able now to move down to your heading, have room even to consume what your summary is about, right? Without that, they immediately go down to your heading. If it's not satisfactory, they want to go to your summary. If it's not satisfactory, go down. And they eventually, if they don't find something that is useful for them, they bounce. And remember, people are always looking for similarities. So when they land onto your profile, What is it about you that's going to reel them in? What do you stand for? Who are you? What are you about? This offer that you're offering, what makes you unique in offering it, right? If your profile is able to answer these questions and people are able to easily come to the conclusion that you might be the right guide to take them from where they are to where they want to go, then it's easy for them to even buy whatever is on your profile, right? The resources, maybe you have a lead magnet or you have low ticket offers. It's easy for them to jump in and wet their feet, before coming into your DMs, and it is like a hassle. Hey, you said you're gonna buy. Hey, let's hop on a call, and because people want to avoid doing that. So if people can get whatever they need directly from your profile, it's a plus. And that is what these people are doing. So you'll find on the featured section, they have different links to different lead magnets, different landing pages. If they have 3 offers, you'll find all their offers over there. You'll find their biggest testimonials, probably a video on their profile. That it is for me, if I'm a new person who's coming into your profile, I'm able to see and answer my questions. Is this the right person for me? If I'm thinking, they could probably solve this problem for me. Oh yeah, I have this problem. They could, I'm able to see more proof why I should take that risk with you, right? So there's evidence, there's publications you've worked with, big names. If you have big brands you've worked with, you can name drop them. Just not too much. There's of course a way you can do it in a not too in your face way. Just yeah, it's just what it is. This is the information I'm giving you, right? So that's the kind of profile you want, one that qualifies your leads. It markets you as an expert, and this is why your heading comes in, because in a second it tells people what you're about. That is what your cover is about. And then your summary, you talk more about the offer. Your profile is profitable if it's building a list for you, an email list. Remember, LinkedIn is borrowed property. Facebook is borrowed property. You must have had by now, or you've had this experience where your account is banned. I had a client December last year, and right before her launch, like the day before her launch, Facebook decides, no, you're going against our guidelines, you're going against our policies, like that. And we were building everything in her Facebook group. So can you imagine the stress, because she didn't have a place where she could communicate? It was stressful. And this was a launch she had built up to for 6 months. Can you imagine? And I've had stories. I've been on LinkedIn for so long. For people who talk about stuff like racism, and I talk about this, I've seen a lot of shadow banning, so that your reach is really minimized, unlike other people who post about other stuff, right? So there's a lot of something like that goes on, depending on what topics you're talking about. So it's good to be building your list off of LinkedIn. If your profile is doing this for you, you're able to market everyone in your audience, right? As long as they've downloaded and they're in your email list, you're able to market to them from one place. You're not too worried about visibility. You're not worried about what are they on today or not. You can send the emails. If you have a funnel, even better. If you have a lead magnet that people can come into, take it, and you're able to nurture them from there, so that they're able to buy whatever. They can find other offers that you have. They can find you when you're promoting. They can find you when you're launching. They can, that is so much better. And these are the things that I've seen with profiles that are profitable. And this is what people who are killing it on LinkedIn, because then LinkedIn, they're not too dependent on LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn is simply a place where they amplify their visibility from, right? And they're constantly getting new leads from. But if they decided, LinkedIn decided, no, you're no longer using our platform, they'll be good. they'll still sell, you know, that's what I'm talking about. So the second thing that I've seen with these entrepreneurs is that they are very intentional about being seen and being remembered, not just by anyone, but by the right people, right? And not just as Namatasi, like the name, but what Namatasi is about. Not just Namatasi, the LinkedIn business strategist, but what more she is, like she's an authority in this area. Namatasi does this. Everyone knows this is what Namatasi is good in, right? And they're intentional about their brand being about something. Like there's a general vibe about their brand. So they're very intentional about what perception people are getting. Every time they see them, every time you come across their brand colors, every time you come across their brand name, their name, every time you see them associating with somebody, what to expect from such a thing. So they've learned how to be intentional about their brand, right? And the best thing about it is like with LinkedIn, when you're starting out on a small account, it's you have to put in a lot of effort. I'm not kidding you. You have to put in a lot of effort to build your community, to get that engagement going, to get people to get the vibe of your brand. You're gonna put in a lot of work. But the good thing is, the more people are coming into your audience, the more you'll need just a little bit of engagement. I mean, you'll just need engagement from a small percentage of your audience to spark, visibility. So more people are able to see you, right? So as you grow, it becomes easier. And I haven't seen this on any other platform, honestly. That's the one advantage that I really like about LinkedIn. Your work gets less when you grow. All right. So you'll find these entrepreneurs sharing extremely great content. Just a second. It's so hot, let me tell you. It's so hot, and it's like almost 6:30 in the evening. So you'll find these entrepreneurs are sharing great content, and not just about the expertise, but this the vibe around their brand. What are they about? What has their experiences been, and how can this relate to other people? So they're not just telling people their opinions, but they're inviting conversations, inviting discussions, other people's opinions. And this is what leadership is about, right? That you're giving room for other people to come in and hold mature conversations, to give their point of view, and you take it and you analyze it and you're like, no, yes, that kind of maturity is so good. And that is what leadership is about. That is what thought leadership is about. So you'll find them being very intentional about their posts they comment on also, right? Because on LinkedIn, all your activity is seen. As long as your profile is public, every post that you like, anyone can see. It's on your profile. Any comments that you leave on a post, it's there. So they're very purposeful about their visibility, where they're seen, whose posts, and also they're very intentional about their visibility being a strategy. So they're not just dependent on their feed, what pops up on their feed, and like just log into LinkedIn. I'll be on LinkedIn for 20 minutes, right? And I'm just scrolling on the feed and seeing whatever I like and liking it. No, the structure, the strategy around, who am I reaching out to today? Who am I commenting on? This structure, and when things are being done like that, it does not matter what mood you're in. You cultivate a culture of discipline, right? This is what I need to do and why, and you show up for it, and this structure, like this 20 minutes after I'm done, I'll have moved one step closer to my goal. That is what you want. And that is what we're doing in Leverage LinkedIn, the 12-week program, you know. And if you'd like to join, just reach out to me on Facebook, LinkedIn at Namatasi. Yeah. And another thing that I've seen is that they are all over hosting events, which are really great when you do them, when you create them with SEO in mind. It's really good for attracting organic traffic on LinkedIn. So it's giving you visibility beyond your immediate network. And also, it's such a great way with these events because it's a place where you're able to demonstrate authority in your own, like it's your home, right? And you're able to invite other guests. You're able to leverage other people's audiences when you're inviting guest speakers to your LinkedIn event. That is bringing in a variety, you know, quality leads. And this is the best thing about doing this with SEO in mind, because it brings in quality leads, especially if you're talking about the subject around your expertise, right? So you bring in other guests, especially guests who are offering complementary services to your ideal client. So what do I mean by this? Like your ideal buyer, of course, they have other problems, right? Whoever is solving these problems for them, you can invite them to have conversations with them. So they're guest speaking with you. They're inviting you to guest speak with them. And this is how you just, create a culture of networking and collaboration, right? Newsletters are also another thing that I've seen people taking advantage of, because with newsletters, they act like just regular newsletters, right? So every time you create your post or your newsletter on LinkedIn and you post it, it gets published and it gets pushed to people's LinkedIn emails. All right. So it's very, very, it works so well, right? Another thing is that they build standout brands. Honestly, let me drink water because this one I'm excited about. Okay. Oh God, I didn't plan to take this long, but let's just finish this third point. It's our last one, the third point. They're building standout brands. Listen, and we've talked about perceived value when I shared the 3-second rule, how people meet you, and in under 3 seconds it's already made a judgment conclusion about you, right? And this is what happens with a brand. People, you could have the most, you could be like a genius, a total genius, but in your messaging we can't see it. How you speak we can't see it. How you show up we can't see it. Just overall we can't get that vibe of you knowing what you're talking about. Perceived value. So when I land on your profile like this, straight from your profile picture, what do I get? What do I interpret from your profile picture? Do you look approachable? Do you look like a joker? Do you look too serious? And yes, you can look too serious, because my first profile I'll share with you later on in the LinkedIn, Leverage LinkedIn. I looked so serious that people were, they'd fret whenever they're coming to the coaching call. They're like so worried. Should I wear official? Should I look professional? Like I haven't tied my hair. And I'd get people telling me, you'll forgive me, I haven't worn makeup today. I'm like, no, you don't have to wear makeup. And would get on a call and they're like, oh my God, Nama, you're so different from how I perceived you. you know, and that's the value, that is what people see. There's value in that perception. There's a time we were doing lead generation on Facebook, and we were supporting this high ticket, like high level coaches get leads. Like, we're doing this high drive lead generation for them. And we'd get like people saying, we don't want Africans, we don't want Asians, we don't want, Africans and Asians. And you know how they'd tell you to to see it, just look at their profile. So if I look at your profile, I'm African, so I know an African's name, right? Out. So if you're an African and you have a really good profile picture, like you look serious about your brand, of course I'd let you in. I'd think, maybe they're not such a bad lead, maybe there's room, this one has hope, right? And of course, I wasn't, it was based on ethnic bias, it was based on a lot of racism, but you can't deny the fact that this is like the value of perception. If I went to a white person's profile and they have a poor brand, I'd be told let them in, right? And that is where racism was factoring. But other times when it's an African who's in America or Europe, I wouldn't know just from looking at their profile, but the quality of their pictures, I will tell, and they're given a pass. This is what I'm talking about with perceived value. When people are none of these people have mediocre profiles. None of them have mediocre profiles. They have really good pictures, really well done. And you don't need to spend on a professional photographer. You could have like clear images. If you have somebody who can support you with graphics, or you yourself are good with graphics, you can do that. But don't let that stop you from creating that is, we've talked about perceived value, but there's also the true inherent value that you have, and that is seen through your messaging, right? But in these 3 seconds, people decide whether to follow you or not, whether to connect with you or not, right? Whether to download your lead magnet or not, right? And that is why you have to do the whole perception thing. Have those brand photos, have memorable brand colors, those fonts and all that. But if you don't have all that, it shouldn't stop you from starting. Start and let your message speak for you. Let your message be what people perceive you through. All right. So what your brand talks about, you don't have to be in a suit and tie, and this is what I tell people. You don't have I don't have to wear like Western clothes. If in a day I feel like wearing my African attires and donning my African jewelry, I will do that. No one's stopping me. If I decide to go on and do a live session, invite Kenyans, invite Tanzanians, invite people who can only understand Swahili, I'm free to do that, right? If that means it's you in lingerie, and I saw a LinkedIn coach who had like a corset on and a nice pantsuit. Oh, she looked so good. It grabbed people's attention, but it also filtered people, like who is your tribe and who isn't, who's gonna stay expecting you not to hide, not to be anyone other than yourself, right? So are you bringing your A game? This is a question that I have for you. I mean, are you bringing you in your best element, the highest version of yourself? Are you bringing that to play? If that means you're not pretending to be slim and doing these contour things that people do to make their faces look slimmer, do it. If you're gonna show people to show up in their big bodies that God has blessed you with, then show up just like that. If it means you showing up in tattoos and piercings, yeah, and dark clothes and dark energy and a dark vibe, do that. Show up just like that, because you're going to be attracting your vibe. You're going to be freeing people who have been hiding, wanting that part of themselves out and free, but they are not able to do that because they can't see. And you have that responsibility to be the person who's blazing that path. That it's you who's ending this shit. It's you who's ending this cycle of pretense and limitations. That it's you who's going to be bold and loud and bringing your whole self into your brand, right? If it means you bringing your culture into it, bring it. I'm planning to do a shoot this November, and holy God, I feel so good about it because I've felt for so long as if people wouldn't want to work with me because I'm African. And I've had people come to me and telling me, hey, if you want to survive in this industry, you've got to learn how to water down your African accent, better your English, all that. And sometimes I'm thinking every time I like, if I want to speak in proper English and really articulate what I'm doing, I have to write down my points. If I don't, my mind wanders because I'm translating everything from Swahili to English. And sometimes I miss the words, sometimes I forget the words, and then I start getting frazzled and sweating. I'm like, oh God, and then it spirals, from there, how it happens, right? Anxiety, and I end the meeting. I don't want that. So for it to work for me, I need to write all this shit down that I want to express, right? And then have these pointers that I can go through. That works for me. That works for me. And this time I feel so good about doing it the African way. I don't want to be misconstrued for a Black person in America, a Black person in Europe. No. I want to be able to highlight the challenges that we as African entrepreneurs have to go through on a daily basis. I just shared with you, we just finished our 1 month LinkedIn challenge. It didn't go for 4 weeks like I'd planned. We went for 6.5 weeks, right? So now, if we go to Monday, it's gonna be 7 weeks, right? And it's because I've had to postpone a number of times. Like I've had to postpone some classes, no electricity, no internet, just at the last minute. That's the kind of problems I have. And I know so many entrepreneurs are held back because they feel, who's gonna take me seriously with all this, right? They feel like, no, I need to move from the hood. I'm still in the hood. As a matter of fact, I'm still at my dad's place, right? And I said, no more. I'm not going to let anyone decide what I'm going to have in my life. I told my dad I want to move out of here after I've built you a home, and I'm moving into my own home. I'm not gonna pay rent to anybody. I told my dad that, and he said, he laughed, of course. He told me, it's good to have maono. That means it's good to like have dreams, like loosely translated, you're a dreamer sort of. And but it's ruder than that. That sounds really good, but it's ruder in Kiswahili. And I told myself, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I don't have something good to offer people. I'm not gonna limit myself. I'm not gonna say, hey, I'm young. I'm not gonna wait until I have like a rougher voice, more commanding voice. This is just the way I am is enough. It's enough. And through this 1.5 years on the internet, I've been sharing my journey, sharing my life, and I've treated it like a journal. I'd write my thoughts, and I'd get people from Brazil, from I don't know, places, and they'll tell me, Nama, I just read your post and it just freed me. And I wrote it from a place where it's for me, it's to free me. But even without planning for it to be for somebody else, it's still doing the purpose. And I took that upon myself and I said, I have a lot more to offer to this world than just, being comfortable in the hood and accepting living a life where we're borrowing water from neighbors and all this, not being able to eat good. I'm telling you, I came online and things have shifted for my family. My dad doesn't need to spend his salary. Honestly, I'm taking care of the whole family of 5. And last year, at the beginning of last year, I didn't have anything. I split from my child's dad, and I came back home with 2 suitcases, mine and one that had my baby's clothes. And we came back to my dad's and we started life. I didn't have a source of income. I didn't know anything other than I was good at marketing because that is what I'd done in the corporate space, right? And I sat down and I said, There's no way. Poverty has robbed us of so many opportunities. Poverty has robbed us of so many opportunities. That's the train. If you can hear, just ignore it. It's just like right behind here. And I said, if this is it, I said, if this is it, if this is me being responsible for what comes into my life, what comes into my daughter's life, what my dad gets to have because he's retired, what my dad gets to have, then I'm not holding anything back. And every time something happens that is pushing me back, I tell myself, I know it's happening. Take some time, but you're just resting. You're not giving up. And I give myself a deadline. You're gonna rest for this weekend, for this week, and then next week, this is the plan. Picking myself up. And that is what I want us to do in Leverage LinkedIn. Challenge ourselves. Challenge ourselves to be better. Challenge ourselves to show up in the freest expression of ourselves, in the freest version of yourself. That is what I want us to do, right? Because when you align your genius, and your genius is that thing that comes easy for you, so natural. When you're leaning on your genius and you're sharing your lived experiences, sharing your expertise, what will stop your brand from blowing up? Nothing. Nothing. And I don't want you to blend in with people. I don't want you blending in with people. I want you standing out. And this is what Leverage LinkedIn is about. Because if you're blending in with everyone else, you're just like the other Joe who's next to you. You're just like the other person who offers the same solution as you. How are you going to stand out? How? 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 I talk about freedom and I feel this rush to my brain because the idea of just being free to be, free to express yourself, not constricted at all to what people think is right, not limited at all to what is considered acceptable, free to express yourself the way you've been wanting to do it, free to be the change, free to be the catalyst that will transform somebody's life. Oh my God. Free to be the permission somebody needs to see so that they can change their lives themselves. Can you imagine? That is what Leverage LinkedIn is about. That is what Leverage LinkedIn is about. And I want to invite you to take this challenge. Personally, I've been in a mastermind, a high level mastermind, and there were like 30 of us on a call. And it was a 1 hour coaching call. So you're supposed to ask just one question and it's answered. I didn't like the feel of that because at the end of the day, I wasn't helped. If it was too much, like they barely had any time to address our questions like satisfactorily, and you get out of the program not feeling like you've solved the problem. And this is why I created Leverage LinkedIn. I only have room for 6 entrepreneurs, 6, and it's for you if you feel called to being free, to being that leader, to being a catalyst in somebody's life. It's for you if you have a great offer that somebody on LinkedIn will find of value in. I'm talking about CEOs, top executives, startup founders, business owners, consultants, other organizations, And if you're ready to put in the work, because it's about your personal brand and strategy. It's about your story and strategy. It's about relying on systems so that you're not caught in this hamster wheel of doing stuff, and if you don't do, your business fails. I want us to create a system that is sustainable and reliable to do business from, right? So tools, content, and a strategy to keep showing up, and to keep putting you in front of opportunities. That is what we're going to be doing. So you come, it's going to be 3,555 USD, all right, for the 12 months. And we're going to start in December. So the first, we're going to do it for 2 weeks in December, and then we're going to break and then resume in January. But those 2 weeks are going to be so powerful because it's a becoming piece. It's the mindset, the who your next level self, just channeling that energy. Because as you know, for you to start, you don't, it's not the actions that change your feelings and thoughts, it's your thoughts that influence, you know, it's your thoughts that influence your feelings and how you act, and it's your actions that actually bring results, you know. It's who you are when things are not going right. That is what we're going to be doing. It's who you are when you create an offer and no one's buying. It's who you are when you're putting out content, and you're putting out content and no one is engaging. It's who you need to be to reach the next level. It's who you have to be in that next level that we're going to be channeling. So in the first 2 weeks, this is what we're going to be laying down, and then you're going to go and enjoy the holidays, and then come back in January, lay down the groundwork, hit the ground running, build our communities, find our leads, start those conversations, collaborate, strategy, systems, and we have an expert coming in to help us sort our systems out. So for you, if you don't have any system, emails, whatever, so this is going to be very valuable because it's a system you can use off of LinkedIn. It's not dependent on LinkedIn, right? So if you're excited about building up a profitable personal brand on LinkedIn, send me a DM on LinkedIn or on Messenger, and I would love so much to talk to you about all this. And I should let you know we also have guy, all this time I've been talking to myself. Oh, you should also know that we have a payment plan if you'd like to just kind of sort yourself out before December starts, right? Come, let's see how we can arrange that, and so you have enough time to finish it before we start out on December, right? So thank you so much for coming on. And if you have a question, just reach out to me. I'm available on LinkedIn, Facebook. Come, let's have this conversation, see how we can help each other out, right? And also, if you would like to just dip your feet before making such a commitment, there is a 2-hour intensive for 555 USD. If you take the intensive to just like wet your feet and have a feel of what coaching with me feels like, then and you choose to join Leverage LinkedIn, the 12-week program, you won't have to pay the full 3,555. You'll just pay 3,000. All right, so we'll deduct the intensive from there. All right, so I'm so excited to have you reach out, and I hope you've enjoyed and learned something to do. Let me know. Reach out to me in the DMs, and let's continue this conversation. Okay, all right, bye.